Hello, this is Myra Elaine on the Buying Space channel, and today I continue to read from the Torah. Now, I had started a new section before I read chapter 19, and Kedoshim is how I'm going to pronounce this. I've heard it pronounced different ways, so there's not really one way to pronounce it. And we're in chapter 19. And when I read chapter 18, I want everyone to know that my camera died. And I didn't get to say everything I wanted to say. I was going to say that all of these laws are under the old covenant. We're under the new covenant with Jesus Christ. Yeah, I normally don't relate, or a lot of times I haven't related my Torah readings to Christ. But it's relevant to know that all of these laws, all of these rules were set up for the Jews. Now this means holy. Kedoshim means holy or set apart. So God was giving these instructions to the Jews to set them apart. I'm going to go ahead and read chapter 20, and then I'll discuss how God wanted the Jews set apart from other nations and what the focus of a lot of Leviticus has been. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, to the children of Israel thou shalt say, whatever man of the children of Israel or the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed to Molech, shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. Now, seed here is their semen. Oh, and by the way, this is a very adult Bible study or Torah reading. So if you have any children in the room, stop watching right now, move the children, watch this later, do whatever you have to do, because this is going to contain a lot of adult content. And I will set my face against that man. I will cut him off from among his people, because of his seed hath he given unto Molech, in order to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name. Now, Molech was another deity, and as we know from the Ten Commandments, it says, do not put any other gods before me. And it says in the Bible that God is a jealous God. But in addition to that, we have a focus on Israel reproducing, to creating children, to building the nation. So you thought Catholic seed and semen was precious. The Jews, had a market on that way before the Catholics. So anything that would prevent a normal marriage and a normal situation where men were having sex with women was considered an abomination. But after the babies were born, what they did when they were giving their seed to Molech, that didn't mean that they were in front of the idol masturbating. What they were doing was they were taking their live children and unaliving them in the statue or in a fire for this other deity. So anybody in Israel or in Jerusalem with the 12 tribes, or the tribes outside that were traveling with them, or some stranger that came through that would sacrifice a child, would be put to death. And if the people of the land should in any way hide their eyes from that man when he giveth of his seed to Molech, so as not to kill him, then I will set my face against that man, against his family, and I will cut him off, and I will go astray after him, to go astray after Molech from among their people. So even if you know of someone sacrificing children to this deity, and sacrificing children in modern times, and you do nothing about it, God will be displeased with you. And in this day and age, it meant death, even just ignoring it. And the person that trueth unto such as have familiar spirits, and unto wizards, to go astray after them, and I will set my face against that person, and will cut him off from among his people. So, no divination. The spirit world is real. And if you have any kind of divination in your life that's not divine divination to the Lord, to Yahweh, that is considered evil. Sanctify yourselves, therefore, and be ye holy, for I am the Lord your God. Now, these rules are set up specifically for the children of Israel. He wanted them set apart and holy. And ye shall keep my statutes and do them. I am the Lord who sanctified you. For whatsoever man that curseth his father or his mother shall be put to death. His father or his mother hath he cursed, his blood shall be upon him. This isn't talking about children or teenagers having spats. Okay, this is beyond that. This is like what happens in adulthood, but sometimes between parents and children, and their adult children. I don't think that God is putting to death children that are just mad at their parents, because, well, we'd all be dead. And the man that committeth adultery with a man's wife, even if he committeth adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer shall be put to death, together with the adulteress. That's self-explanatory. If you're married, you don't sleep with someone else. If someone else is married, you don't sleep with them. And a man that lieth with his father's wife hath uncovered his father's nakedness. Both of them shall be put to death. Their blood shall be put upon them. We went through this in chapter 18, and we went through a lot more of family relationships that turned intimate that were wrong. This is quite popular now, stepmother sex, and I honestly find it disgusting. And also stepsister sex. I would be afraid to be around anyone that was doing that kind of behavior. Our families weren't meant to be a jumbled mess. Just saying. And the man lieth with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall be put to death. They have committed corruption. Their blood shall be upon them. And a man that lieth with a male and lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination, and they shall be put to death, for their blood shall be upon them. Now, in this day and age, there was men marrying multiple women, sleeping with their handmaidens. There was slavery and all kinds of other things that we wouldn't consider culturally appropriate. Today, well, let me just say this. I lost my virginity to a bisexual man. He was an anti-Semitic Jew who was an atheist and a communist, and somehow ended up in Boone County, West Virginia. But anyway, I met him when I was 18, and he was in his 30s. And I'd had other relationships with bisexual men through the years. I was engaged to a gay man twice who was a quote-unquote flip-flopper. So I know a little bit about what can happen if you lie with a man and lie with a woman. And remember, this whole book talks about replenishing the earth with people. it protects the seed, especially the seed of Israel. Now, if a man is sleeping with a man, he's not ejaculating into a uterus that can create a baby. Okay? And if you sleep with a man, if you're a man and you sleep with a man, then you sleep with a woman, you can cause her vaginitis. I mean, this is back then, you would have been putting strange bacteria into the uterus you were sleeping with, into the woman. And that could cause yeast infections and bacteria, even if they didn't have AIDS back then or any of the other STDs that we deal with in modern life. And they didn't have prophylactics. So you were causing health detriments to that woman if you weren't using some kind of protection. And they didn't have protection. And what would you be doing? What if a baby's conceived under those conditions? So here we have this chapter that's protecting the seed and protecting the children, because God wants Israel to procreate and grow. He wants a mighty nation. And it's against his rules to do anything at this point in time to waste seed or waste children or waste the future priests of the world. So let me go on from that. And if a man take a woman and her mother, it is incest. In fire shall they burn him and them, and there's be no incest among you. So if you sleep with a daughter and a mother, even if you're not related to them, that's incest. I read a thing the other day. If you have a daughter, after you give birth, there's cells. And I don't know why it's specifically a daughter, but I read this article that said the cells of the baby daughter stay inside the mother and commingle with her uterus. And so if you have a daughter, you always have parts on a cellular level of your daughter with you. So if you sleep with the daughter and then you sleep with the mother, the daughter is inside the mother. And, I also feel that spiritually. That the daughter is, and mothers and daughters are so connected. But I recently found out they're biologically connected too. So I could understand why God would feel this was incest. Even if the man is not related to the mother or the daughter, they're related to each other. And you're sharing fluids and cells between the two of them. And that just seems unnatural. I dated a man who told me he had dated a mother and daughter, and I didn't date him for long. It was more than that, but it was way more than that. And okay. And a man that lieth with his beast shall be put to death, and the beast shall also ye slay. And if a woman approach unto any beast to lie down there, then shall kill the woman and the beast. Thou shalt be put to death. Their blood shall be upon you. So don't sleep with animals. That's pretty straight up, and usually considered really disgusting by most people. And if a man take his sister, the daughter of his father, or the daughter of his mother, and shall see her nakedness, and she see his nakedness, it is disgraceful deed, and they shall be cut off before the eyes of the people. The nakedness of his sister hath he uncovered, his iniquity shall he bear. If a man lie with a woman, suffering of her separation, and uncover her nakedness, he shall lay open her fountain, and she shall uncover the fountain of her blood. Then shall both of them be cut off from the midst of the people, suffering of her separation. I believe this is talking about menstruation. If a woman is bleeding, she's suffering her separation. Because if you were of Israel and you slept with a woman who is having her period, you were unclean, and she was spreading uncleanness. They were very concerned about situations that cause cleanliness and uncleanliness, and Leviticus is full of it, of how to stay clean and holy. And the nakedness of thy mother's sister or thy father's sister shall not uncover, for of his kin will be he uncovered, in iniquity shall they bear. And if a man lieth with his uncle's wife, hath uncovered his uncle's nakedness. So not your blood aunts, not your aunt-in-laws, your uncle's wives. Do not make the family reunion awkward. Just saying. Please do not do that. Do not make mayhem so people cannot get together and feast together and have a normal time without jealousy and rage and violence and potentially unaliving of people at the dinner table. Just saying. Their sin shall they bear, childless shall they die. And if a man do take his brother's wife, it is impure. The nakedness of his brothers hath been uncovered. Childless shall they remain. And keep ye in all my statutes, all my ordinances, and do them, and the land whither I bring you to dwell therein may not commit you forth. And ye shall not walk in the customs of the nation which cast out before you. For all these things they committed, and therefore I felt loathing for them. And I said unto you, ye shall possess their land, and I will give it unto you to possess it, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God, who hath separated you from the nations. So God wanted Israel separate, set apart, and holy. And they wanted them to produce a nation. So he loathed it, which means hates, when anytime anybody was doing any of these behaviors that prevented the seed from being carried on. Ye shall therefore make a difference between the clean beast and the unclean, and between the unclean fowl and the clean. And ye shall not make your souls abominable by the beast, or by the fowl, or by any manner of things that creepeth on the ground, which I have separated from you as unclean. And ye shall be holy unto me, and the Lord. I am holy, and I have separated you from the nations, that ye should be mine. And if there be among you men or women, one that hath a familiar spirit, or is a wizard, thou shalt be put to death. With stones shall they stone them, their blood will be upon them. So, in general, I look at this as an overview, as a good way to live, and things not to do. It talked about tattoos in the last chapter, and here it's talking about bisexuality, about keeping women clean, doing things that keep women clean. It didn't specifically say that, but it is all about building a happy life, and a good nation. And if you want to have children, if you want to your lineage to carry on, these are the rules you need to follow. Now, go forth and multiply, uh, was said to Adam and Eve, and it was said to Noah after the flood. And there was not many people on the earth at the time. And God wanted the Jewish people to be numerous and mighty so they could be prophets to the other nations. So he wanted them healthy and clean and procreating. Now, when we live our normal lives today, even if you're Jewish, we have 8 billion people on the planet. We have checked that box. We have been fruitful. We have multiplied. And we have plenty of people. Now, I believe that Roman Catholics still believe in no birth control, and they want their numbers to grow. And that's why they do it. That's why that was established. Also, after one of the skirmishes with the surrounding country, there was this young lady, when Jews had been unalived, saying to the camera with loathing, I'm going to make many, many, many beautiful Jewish babies. And, God bless her. If that's what she wants, that's what she's called to do. But they feel right now that they are threatened. And they are threatened. That's an honest statement, that the Jewish people are threatened today. And they're still surrounded by the enemy. And procreation might be a good idea for Jewish people at this point because their numbers are low. Now, I'm going to talk about another situation that's controversial. Well over 20 years ago, my father and I had a conversation. And my father did not like Muslim people at all. He was Islamophobic. And he was going on about how Muslims were going to outpopulate us. And the mechanisms that are in play right now, each Muslim man can have 8 wives. He may be ordered to have 8 wives. I don't have a Quran. I'm not sure about that. And they have about 8 children with each wife. And, I know that's the extreme case. And like Muslim men in America probably only have 1 wife because that's the law. But, they are reproducing at a higher rate than the average Christian family. So my father was really concerned about the disappearance of white people. And about a decade ago, I informed a cousin of mine that the white race was doomed and Western civilization was doomed, just out of the reality of how populations are going. Because we've had a 0 population growth for quite some time, and so does Europe. So white people in America have focused on having the latest phone, having a sports car. Our young men are not focused on having families. And it makes sense in a way because, like I said, we've outpopulated ourselves. But we're also, if you are in a category and you're ethnocentric and you're concerned about carrying on your race, you need to be following these rules and procreating. But, we live in a free society. People don't see this. So if you are an Islamophobic individual, put your money where your mouth is and go have some babies. That's the only thing that's going to save the white race or Western civilization that we base our country on here in America. Otherwise, we are going to be outpopulated. And it's not, I don't look at it as good or bad. It just is. That's what's happening. And it's, it's more than just a little trend. And people need to wake up to that and deal with it one way or another. And the way we should deal with it is not violating the 10 Commandments and killing people or putting people in jail, it's something that can't be stopped. So why are people being violent, arresting people, and killing people? We should be kind to one another. We should accept what is going on. So we're being outpopulated. If there's anything if you're concerned about that and there's anything you can do about it, well, go populate. We all have an individual choice, and people are choosing materialistic or commercialistic lifestyles over having children, because you can't have the latest cell phone every year. You can't have the sports car, the fancy car, if you have to buy diapers and formula, if you have to pay for childcare. People are making those choices, and that self-centeredness. But it's still logical to choose not to have children these days because we are populated. But you have to accept who's populating and who's not. And if you choose not to, then you've made that choice, for not just for yourself, but for your spouse and for your family, for your community, for your state, for your nation. Just know that. Own the responsibility for it. But I'm not saying that it has anything to do with your salvation, whether you choose to have children or not. It absolutely does not. You can accept Jesus Christ as your Savior and be saved and be a believer. Maybe after that, you want to have children to carry on the word. Maybe not. It's still another choice, but it's not going to make you go to hell if you choose not to have children, or if you choose a lifestyle where you're wasting your seed. You will have a wonderful and blessed day.